Hello, this is Brandy.
Hey, this is your man Dave.
And welcome to our second episode of Relationships and Family Matters. How are you doing today, Dave?
I'm doing pretty good. I had a really good day today, so
Well, great.
I'm excited.
Awesome. So in episode 1, we spoke about how we met. Of course, we've been married for a little over 20 years, and we met on a blind date.
What do you think people think about blind dates itself?
I think
Just a blind date.
I think people are probably a little bit leery and a little hesitant to go on blind dates because they are blind dates and they don't know what this person looks like.
Do you think people are hesitant about maybe being catfish or?
Not on a blind date. When I say blind date, I am referring to like your friends setting you up. Like we set up a couple of our friends after we were dating.
Well, I think that's a good idea, your friends setting you up, because they should definitely know what you like or what you dislike in the person.
Right. I agree.
That should enhance the first part of the relationship. And when you meet each other, you say, okay, hopefully they'll like each other, physical attraction. Hopefully the eyes may see what they see in each other. But what about the personality?
Yeah, I mean, that's important too. I know when we set up our friends, I'm not sure what made us think they would mesh together well, but they ended up dating for quite a long time. They didn't get married, but they dated for a long time. So I guess if you have good friends and they know you're single, sometimes it can work out. In our case, of course, it did, and I'm sure a lot of other people have had the same situation where things have worked out. But honestly, I don't know if I've told you this before or not. That was not my first blind date.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay.
It was not. I've been on a blind date before I met you.
That's new.
Yeah. Oh, okay. It was a friend of mine that, I think I told you this before, but a friend of mine set us up. Now, I had his number or he had mine. I don't remember which, but we ended up meeting somewhere. Because, I didn't want him coming to my place.
Well, on a blind date, you probably want to meet somewhere in a private,
somewhere.
A public place.
Yes, we met at a movie theater, and it was odd because he was probably about a good 4 or 5 inches shorter than me, so it was a little awkward to me.
So he was 3 feet?
No, he wasn't 3 feet.
Okay.
But he was quite a bit shorter than me, but. Anyway, I think some blind dates turn out well, others not so well. I guess we just lucked up. But I'd like to ask our listeners what they think about dating today. I know some single people have told me, guys don't really want to take us out. They want to Netflix and chill, whatever that's code for. Wink, wink,
I wonder
nudge,
what that
nudge.
means.
Yeah, so I think that dating has really changed over the years, and we probably don't have a good feel for what dating looks like today.
Well, I think it's based on your expectation and where you are as far as your age. If you're a little bit older, you're probably, it's not a lot of chatter going on. When you're a little bit older, you're trying to get straight to the point. Okay, what's going on? Who are you? Are I'm compatible with you? Am I not? Okay, move on.
So like the interview type date, like what we had.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you're trying to get to the point. But if you're younger, you want to Netflix and chill for a while and testing the waters and see how things work out. And
do you think they want to Netflix and chill because they don't want to spend money? When I say they, I'm referring to men. Or young boys, young men, are they not wanting to spend money? Is that what it is?
I wouldn't
think... They don't want to take a girl out?
Well, I would tell any female, if you're dating a guy and he doesn't want to spend money on you, I think you need to, okay. But it really depends on what you're spending money on. Okay. Now, if you take a young lady out, I think the guy should buy the first time.
Dinner.
Dinner, yes.
Right. Okay. Or pay for the date.
Yes, maybe the second time as well.
If the boy or the man asks you out, then he should be paying the tab.
Now, most people say if it's customary, if the invitee
pays.
Right.
I understand.
Like if I invite you out, that means I'm paying.
Yeah.
Now, if you invite me out, that should be signifying that you're going to pay. Okay. But most guys usually ask women out.
And then they pay.
They pay.
Now, do you think a
Not
woman...
Dutch.
Right, that's what I was going to say next. Do you think a woman would or should be offended if the man asks for her to pay for her food and he pays for his?
On the first date?
Yeah, we'll say on the first date. Should she be offended? Should that be a red flag?
I think so.
Yeah, because if he's asked her out, then he should.
If he asks her out on a date, and I don't care where you go, if you go to some fancy restaurant and you know where you're going, yeah, you should pay for it. Okay. Absolutely.
You don't think that's old school?
Well, when I say offended, I don't know if you get up and walk out and storm out, but I think that may be a conversation they have to have later. Like, I'm just curious why you asked me to. You asked me out. Why did you ask me to pay?
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, and I'd like to ask you, Dave, and we've been married for quite a while. How do you think married couples should keep things fresh in their relationship, especially when they've been married a long time? With kids, without kids, how do you keep the marriage fresh?
That can be a long conversation. I think there's a lot of things that you can do to keep a marriage fresh. I know we talked about this maybe a little bit. Having some me time, having some personal time, I think is very important for couples to have personal time. Some personal time, maybe, hey, I'm going out with the guys to play basketball. Hey, me and the guys are going to hang out, whatever, hang out at a bar, whatever you want to do. I think that's fine. But I think the female as well. I think she needs her time with her females. Maybe she want to get her hair done.
I agree.
Okay. I think time away, and when I say time away, I'm saying maybe an overnight trip, something like that. I think that's fine. Maybe
to Vegas or somewhere like that?
Yes, to Vegas is fine. Going to Vegas is fine. Guys can do that too. You go out and gamble and have fun.
Yep. Yeah.
I think that's a part. I think having time away, and I think for keeping things fresh. I think we're going to dive in here in this conversation. I'm going to go ahead and dive in. I think sexuality is very important in a relationship, and I think they have to keep things fresh in the bedroom as well as outside of the bedroom. Okay.
Well, what I was alluding to when I asked you about keeping things fresh was dating. Dating after you get married.
Yeah, you have to go on. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think.
Some people don't realize
but this. You and I, we've been, like I said, been married over 20 years, and we go out on date nights. Absolutely. That's keeping things fresh, but date night is a part of keeping things fresh. Right. It's not the only thing that you do.
Oh, I agree. Okay. But I think that time away is important. So
time away
with your girls, with your boys, whatever the case may be, but also going out on dates. I think that's important. Of course, I like going out. I like kind of getting dressed up a bit. I like that kind of stuff. So I guess it depends on the couple.
Yes, it does.
But for us, I think we both kind of like the same things. So getting dressed, not necessarily dressed up, but just getting out of the house. And I, in particular, like getting out of the house because I work from home. So it's nice to be able to look presentable, get out of the house, see something different. Even if we sit at the bar somewhere, if we go to a restaurant and sit at the bar, I find that a lot of fun. But
it is.
If you have kids, it's a little bit
more
tough
work. When you got kids, especially when they're younger.
Yes. You have to plan ahead for those type of date nights.
Yes.
You have to get a sitter. So that it's a little bit harder.
When we were younger, we had a little place that we used to drop our kids off, and you pay by the hour.
Parents' night out.
And parents' night out. A lot of churches have parents' night out, but I don't know our listeners, I don't know if they have that in their area, but sometimes you have to seek those things out. But yeah, I think it's very important that couples have time together,
yes,
date night, time away,
right,
and also intimate time should be as important as well.
Right, of course. Yes, I definitely agree with that. But yeah, and those things are part of keeping it fresh in a marriage. And I know there's something that you say often is that you have to do, what is it you say about you have to do the same things to keep them as
Absolutely.
you did to get them?
Yes, a lot of couples, they do a lot when they're dating. They'll shower their significant others with cards and gifts and candy and movies and
flowers,
date night, trips. Then when they get married, all of a sudden, everything stops.
Yeah, we can't
and
have
it's
that.
not fair because they've gotten used to that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's very important for you, whatever you did to, serenade your significant other. I think you need to continue to do that when you get married.
Why do you think that type of behavior ends after the vows are read, after the I do's are said?
Because people get comfortable with each other.
Mm-hmm.
You're my wife. I'm your man. You're not going anywhere. I can look and say and do what I want to do. No, that's not a marriage. A marriage is teamwork. It's a give and take. A relationship is give and take.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're taking all the time, you need to think about giving as well.
Right. All of that is really important in addition to communication.
Communication is very important.
Dating, even after marriage. What else?
Well, let me say about communication. Not just communicate, it has to be good communication.
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of times we think our spouses know what we're thinking, and that's not the case sometimes. Sometimes you have to verbalize what you're actually thinking.
Oh, now I definitely agree with that.
Yes, you have to
When
think
Christmas time comes, I'm not going to assume you know what I want. That's why I'm like, okay, this is what I want. I will go down the list and tell you, I want this kind of perfume. I want that purse.
Well, it's just like I know couples now. They say, hey, you don't have to give me anything for Christmas or my birthday. Mm-hmm. Then when they don't, they're upset. It's like, wait a minute, you just said I don't have to get you anything for your birthday or Christmas. But I think couples need to be open and honest with each other.
Oh, I agree. Now,
don't play games. No games.
Some men are pretty good with gift giving. You're really good with gift giving.
I enjoy. That's one of my gifts.
But
I love to give.
If I want something in particular, I feel like I need to tell you what I want.
Well, I think I'm pretty good at listening throughout the year.
Yeah, you are.
And when you say, I would love to have that, or I need a new computer,
well,
whatever
that's my hints. That's how I give hints. But sometimes I'm just like, I want this. This is what I want.
Well, if you want a particular perfume, yes, you're going to have to tell me.
Yeah.
If you say perfume, that's open the door.
Like when I give you the empty bottle and set it on your side of the
that's correct.
The sink, yes.
So all that is keeping the relationship fresh. Make sure you have good communication. Mm-hmm. Making sure it's clear, and also lack of communication is even worse. Not communicating at all.
That can be a problem.
So that can be a problem.
What do you think causes a lack of communication? Probably when people are just so busy with work, with kids, with extra activities. You just have to make time for each other.
Well, a lot of times, I know we talked about this a little bit earlier, maybe in the conversation, but when you start having kids, a lot of your conversation is not about me and her, him and her. It's about the kids. Right. And you lose that intimacy, that connection, because your life is revolved around the kids.
Revolves around
24/7.
Yes.
And it doesn't get any better when they get older.
Whether you have one or 3 or 5.
I think one, you can tackle
you're
one.
Still going to be busy.
It's a good handoff.
You're still going to be busy.
And when you got 2, you got one, I have one. But you have 3, somebody's left out.
you're still, I mean, it just proves my case. You're very busy, whether it be 1 or 3, but you just have to make the time for each other regardless.
Yeah, I think that's very important. You have to make the time. And
that's crucial. People may not realize it, because when I've seen so many couples, especially when I was growing up, after the kids graduated from high school, after they were out of the house, they were getting divorced.
I know. But they stayed together for the kids.
For the sake of the kids.
But if you go back, it was lack of communication from the start.
They lost their connection.
Exactly.
They had, everything was, like you said, revolving around the kids. They didn't have that communication. They probably didn't make time for each other. They didn't date. They didn't keep it fresh. And then when the kids were gone, they were splitting. And I think that's so sad, because a lot of those couples were married for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
And then they end up getting divorced after the kids leave.
At least for 18 years.
Yeah.
At least for that long or more.
One kid.
But yeah, that's what happens. I think the lack of communication, they're not talking, they're not communicating. They lose that personal, intimate connection with that person. And once the kids are gone, they're like, I don't know you anymore. Who are you? Who are you? I don't know you anymore. I mean,
when did you get here?
So, and they end up just splitting or breaking up or getting divorced.
And that's very unfortunate.
Unfortunate, but it happens. And we're not saying divorce is bad, not at all. I think some divorces are probably necessary. It depends on the situation. But I think in that case, when you have a pretty decent, stable home, and you just lose that connection toward each other. And that's why I said intimacy is very important too as well. I think that's a big part. Men think a little bit different from women when it comes to that. I think that's intimacy, sexuality, having sex is very high on a man's hierarchy. It may be a little less on the woman's. I'm not saying everyone the same, but a woman may not have that same intensity, toward that as well. But I think a man, it's a part of the relationship. And it can't get stale, it can't get boring. That's why you have to freshen that up as well.
Yep, I agree with that. All right. Well, Dave, anything else on your mind about dating, blind dates, keeping things fresh, communication? We've covered a lot.
Yeah, we have. I really appreciate the conversation. I think it's very, hopefully it'll be helping some of our listeners out there that are listening. I think that's very important. So you guys can always email us or write in and tell us what you think about the conversation that we're having today.
Yes, email us your questions. Let's see, our email address is Brandy and David podcast@gmail.com. That's BRANDY and David podcast@gmail.com. If you have a question about relationships, about children, family, go ahead and send us that email. We would love to hear from you. You can also give us a call and leave us a voice message, 615-930-1251. That's 615-930-1251. Dave, it's been really nice talking to you about this subject.
Well, I appreciate it, Brandy.
I was just wondering if there was anything in the news, any type of pop culture you wanted to talk about before we left. I know that you mentioned how important sex was for men, and for some reason Tiger Woods popped up in my head.
Oh, Tiger.
Because he admitted that he had a sexual addiction, and his
Well, I think the sexual
ex-girlfriend.
addiction was years ago, but they're just playing what he said in the past.
Well,
because
he
of the
admitted
situation.
it.
Yeah, that was years ago. That was when I think he was married to his first wife, and they got a divorce. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it's important to certain people. Their sexual tolerance is a little bit higher.
I think men are more likely to admit it than a woman that they have a sexual addiction. I know Eric Benet has admitted to having a sexual addiction, if I'm not mistaken. There's somebody else that I don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, I just thought about Tiger Woods and what he's going through with his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, I think that news broke yesterday. Was that, yesterday? His girlfriend is suing him for...
Ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, excuse me, let me put X on it.
Yes.
Ex-girlfriend is suing for $30 million. Wow.
They basically...
How many tee-offs has she done? She teed off any?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, she teed off.
They basically kicked her out of the house. I just saw this.
That was pretty cool. Hey, go and visit your mother.
Yeah.
Go and visit your mother.
And you're not coming back.
Then, by the way, when you go on the doors a lot, I think that's pretty cool.
No, that's not cool.
Yes,
but what I thought was interesting is she's
I think your mother's sick. Go and visit your mother.
But listen, she's suing for $30 million, right?
$30 million.
And the house, gorgeous. I just saw it on TV. The house was gorgeous. $48 million house, 10,000 square feet. I'm like, I guess she's suing because she wants to buy her own house. Is that what it is?
No, I can't believe. Well, I think they're claiming some sexual allegations.
Oh, they did say something about that.
I think, I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah,
I think maybe our
okay.
next podcast we may talk a little bit more about that, go more in depth.
Did
but
mention that.
I just think it's ridiculous.
But would she be suing if she hadn't got
kicked
out of the house? That's the thing. Where did the
today
allegations
is March the 9th.
Yes.
And yesterday was March the 8th, which is International Women's Day.
Right.
So we're celebrating women, then all of a sudden this story. I mean, that's...
Okay. I'm not sure one
anything
had anything to do with the other, but it was pretty shocking when I heard
it is.
the amount that she was suing.
But I just think it's embarrassing. I mean, she's suing him. A girlfriend now, not a wife. A girlfriend.
They lived together for, I want to say, they were together for like 11 years. They were together for quite a while. So I'm not sure what state
I think they were
in.
together for us in his life because she used to be his manager, I think.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yes.
I'm not sure what state they're in, but
I think they're in Florida.
States, I was thinking Florida. And I don't know if they have that law, but some states have common law after so much time.
Yeah, I think a lot of states, but I think a lot of that
I don't know about
are
Florida.
old laws that are on the books.
Right.
That's not enforced. So
I understand that. But there may be some recourse when there's in a common law state. I just don't know.
Okay.
So I'll have to do my fact checking later. But anyway, so that is all, folks. I just wanted to touch on that. I gave the address, Brandy and David podcast @gmail.com. Phone number 615-930-1251. And we hope you'll join us again next week. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Brandy. Peace.
Bye-bye.